Greetings everyone, this is TimeRider with another quarantine build. In this case, a Hot Wheels Redline Ferrari 312P. Like so many cars, the 312P comes with a story. After taking a year off of racing in protest over a kerfuffle with the racing authority over their 4-liter engine, Ferrari released this as a prototype in 1969 with a 3-liter engine. Its racing history was respectable, but unremarkable. In 1971, Ferrari replaced the engine with a flat V12 engine, a new engine for them, often called a boxer engine. After looking at so many pictures and reading so much about this car, I'm convinced that even though Hot Wheels produced this in 1970, and only in 1970, it's still a representation of the 1971 version of the Ferrari. Made in both the US and Hong Kong, the blue windscreen shows this to be a Hong Kong version that was not Spectraflame, but rather red enamel. I'm going to restore this one, so stick around. The casting was held together in two places, a front post, and then you can see the hole in the engine compartment. The other portion that held the casting together was the engine. And originally I was gonna drill it out and tap it and try to put the whole thing back together with button screws. But if you look closely, you can see that post is actually kind of bent. And so eventually I just decided to put the whole thing back together with some super glue. And now it's time for the primordial ooze. Give it a shake for luck. And once we got all the paint off of it, it's time to start preparing for new paint. A little bit of wire brushing here to clean it up. It doesn't have the mirror finish that you see on a lot of Redlines that were painted with Spectraflame. And I actually think this was a pretty good casting. I mean, it was in really good shape. And I thought about polishing it and doing it in Spectraflame. And then I just thought, you know what? I'm just going to restore it and bring it back to the shape it was in originally. So I'm going to clean up the bottom here a little bit. I didn't soak it in any crud cut or anything. I just wire brushed it. Call it good. And then I needed to replace these capped wheels. And this one was actually broken. You can kind of see there's a little piece of the backing plate that's missing. But it didn't seem to keep the wheel from hanging on, so I wasn't too concerned about it. And once I did a little steel wool work, just to get it nice and smooth, we'll clean it up with a little bit of lacquer thinner and get it ready for paint. Duplicolor white primer for a base, even though it really didn't need to have anything filled in. It was in good shape. That back piece was flat black on the US versions and gloss black on the Hong Kong versions. I'm using that Redline shop red paint that I used on the GTO build. I used black primer on that. I'm using white primer on this. I think it's pretty good paint. I know George had some troubles with the yellow, or I'm sorry, the orange, but I think that the red actually looks pretty good. Had a little woolly booger there. Need to fix that. Now, I bought a set of decals from the Redline shop, and usually I'm pretty happy with everything that they sell me, but I gotta tell you, I really wasn't very happy with this particular set. it didn't separate very well from the backing. And if you look at the ad on the Redline shop, it doesn't say clearly enough on there that these are stickers, not decals. And they're supposed to be two little round Ferrari logos that were not round. They were little diamond shape affairs that were not the right color. So I tried coloring them with a Sharpie. And then, you know, Paul told me this thing sucked. This is the part I think sucked, is trying to put the damn thing back together. It's like rubbing your head and patting your belly and jumping up and down. Getting back to where we started, though, you know, it had been played with pretty good. You know, the paint was gone off all the edges, which is really common for a car that's probably tumbled a time or two. But yeah, it had really good bones, and it was a really good place to start. So without further ado, let's see where I wound up. So let me start by saying that the two little Ferrari logos that came with this decal set were pretty much junk, and I wound up throwing them away and trying to do this thing without the Ferrari logo. And then I thought, wait a minute. As small and fiddly as it might be, I'll just make my own. So there you have it. The Hot Wheels Ferrari 312P. I hope you like it. Stick around for an episode of The Bench if that's your kind of thing. This is TimeRider, and I'll leave the light on for you. Hey, thanks for hanging around for this edition of The Bench. First, let me talk about what I got coming up this weekend. I finally finished this sad and sick little Iso Grifo. It's a Corgi. It's a little bit larger scale, but I'm going to release that video Saturday morning. Incidentally, I haven't made it yet, but I'll work on it tomorrow. And then I'm also, hopefully, on Sunday, going to release the video of this Matchbox number 44B Rolls Royce. I did one of these before, and I actually gave it to Jim Silva. And now I'm going to do another one, take another lash at that metallic champagne. I get asked a lot as a former law enforcement person why I don't do more police cars. And to that end, I picked up this Matchbox Ford Taurus police car, and I'm going to redo this in the same design as the police cars that I was building when I retired. And as if I don't have enough stuff going on my bench right now, I busted this 1959 Chevy Lowrider out of the blister pack just this morning. And I hate the tampos on the side of it to begin with, and I'm not really a fan of the color that it is either. But I'm going to try to elevate this thing and maybe dress it up a little bit. We'll see what I can come up with for it. But at any rate, remember everybody to be careful out there. The world is a treacherous place, full of all kinds of things that are just ready to trip you up. So stay safe. This is TimeRider, and I'll see you at my next build.